Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Not Gonna Lie podcast, NGL. We got Obi and Nora, or Whitfield, myself, and Bentley. We're just gonna give a quick recap of some of the games that have occurred in the NBA playoffs. So first up, we're gonna start with New York Knicks versus the Atlanta Hawks. The New York Knicks suffering
Listen, I'm gonna need y'all to
demoralizing
enthusiasm. Up the
I
enthusiasm.
don't have any enthusiasm right now. That was a terrible fucking L. Okay?
That was a tough loss. That was a tough loss. They shouldn't have lost that game. And they were at home. You know what I mean? Like, not that, home court, post-COVID, home court ain't really, as huge of an advantage. But now that they turned game 2 into a must-win for themselves.
Listen. You a Knicks fan, Bentley. Earl, you a Lakers fan. So yeah, I know y'all down. So I'm gonna carry this podcast today because I'm hyped. listen. The Nets did their thing today. You heard. I mean, last night they did their thing, but it's even better that the Knicks lost because they were talking so crazy.
Who they play? The Washington Generals?
It doesn't matter. They played Tatum. You know what I mean? Listen, they were talking so crazy, Knicks fans. Oh, y'all have no fans in the stadium. Y'all worried about the wrong things.
I'm like, that was a true statement. That was true.
Y'all sitting here talking about all this. Trae Young is cooking. Julius Randle was looking like a Burger King. So y'all need to chill out and focus on the right things. All right. This is the first time y'all been in the playoffs for a while, so I understand it. I'm not talking crazy about all my Knicks fans.
It's the first time KD been in the playoffs in a while too.
That's not true. KD been hurt. Don't do that. KD's always been in the playoffs. Every team.
So if you're hurt, that means you're not playing in the playoffs, right?
His team's been in the playoffs, so
he himself has not touched a playoff court before now.
Are we arguing?
Kawhi was in a Toronto ring.
Are we arguing 12 months of KD not being in the playoffs versus 10 years of the Knicks not being in the playoffs since 2013?
The same idea. He hadn't played either. I'm just saying he hadn't been in the playoffs either. That's all.
I don't care about KD. I care about the Nets. You heard? Nets out here. They've been in here. They ain't new to this. They true to this.
They damn sure ain't true to this. You better off with KD.
The Nets didn't make the playoffs. I can't remember.
Exactly. I'm like, the Nets as a franchise? Stop.
When's the last time Nets didn't make the playoffs? I can't remember.
2 seasons.
It's been a while. It's been a while. They've been in there. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, you lucky we ain't fact checking yet, and you can just go ahead and throw that out there. That's all I'm gonna say.
They've been in there. Last 2 years, they've been there. They chilling.
Yo, so let's focus on the Knicks, man.
Let's focus on the Knicks.
How I feel about this dude, Elfrid Payton. It feels like Thibodeau is forcing this dude to be on the court. He started the game and he got yanked after 4 minutes. Then he started the second half and got yanked after the next 4 minutes. Meanwhile, you got Derrick Rose coming in and looking like vintage Derrick Rose without the dunks. He's fucking cooking, finishing everything at the rim, carrying them, along with Alec Burks. He even quickly showed up. He was hooping in his first playoff game as a fucking rookie. Why the fuck are we still giving Elfrid Payton minutes? Please tell me that.
I'll say that Elfrid, yeah, he's really been a bum all season. I can't hold you, but Tibbs loves defenders, and that's all he brings to the table. I mean,
stop today.
Huh?
Yeah, and that's the thing, though.
Who's your best defender? Don't say Frank Ntilikina because I saw him get cooked.
That's the thing.
Hold on. First of all, Frank came in the game with less than a minute left in the game. Hadn't played all game, and you talking about I'm getting good. I'm far from a Frank apologist. But you can't put the man in the game to guard Trae Young where he had 30 fucking points already and say, hey, go get a stop. Are you fucking kidding me?
That's a fact. Tibbs is wild.
I agree.
Tibbs is wild. I agree with that too. But at the same time, you want to earn minutes. You had one job. You come in there, you do your thing. That's all he does.
Obi, if that was you, how would you feel?
Nah, this happened. Listen, you're right. I 100% understand you. I disagree with the call to put him in there. I would have put D Rose on him and rolled with the players. Like that's it. Like honestly, but to answer your question about Elfrid Payton, like you don't want to switch up the lineups, throughout the years. He likes the punch that Rose and quickly were given off the bench, and it worked out this year. I mean, worked out in the game, to be honest. When the bench came in, the bench was way better than the starters, and they were
Absolutely.
cooking. They were
Who
cooking.
was the bench, Obi?
Yeah.
Say that again.
Who was the bench that you're referring to that was cooking?
Rose. Quickly.
You're not naming Frank or Elfrid Payton right now. Those names have not come out your mouth.
Listen, Frank is the worst basketball player I've ever seen in my entire life. So let's not do that. I apologize for even bringing up his name. He's very bad at basketball. But I was just saying that Elfrid, he likes him because he plays defense. So he brings him in the starting lineup, and then he comes in with that Rose punch and quickly punch at the later on. But Elfrid, he loves defenders, so it's like your whole lineup, your whole starting lineup plays a little bit of defense. You know, Randall is he's smart. He's a smart defender. Fucking Barrett is a big dude, so it's like those are the defense he's looking for. You feel me?
So this is one of the things that is a gift and a curse with someone like Tibbs, because we all know, you know, what do they say in the playoffs? They reference it to boxing, you know, styles make fights. And you may have stuck with one lineup all year. You may have had your go-to guys, and Tibbs is notorious for, you know, falling in love with his lineup and then refusing to change it.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen it happen. We've seen it happen as long ago as when he was with the Chicago Bulls, Derrick Rose Bulls. He refused to adjust series by series, you know, and it was like, this is it, we're gonna go with this. This is what we're going with. And the offensive nuances of the game, just you can't do that anymore. You know what I mean? It's like you can't just go with, like, you know, the Lakers, who you know, we'll touch on. They're having issues because they're trying to figure out lineups the same way. Like last year, where it was like, okay, one series, Dwight Howard and JaVale were primarily featured, but when they played the Rockets, these dudes didn't play. They were DNPs.
And you got to give Frank that credit. You got to give Frank that credit.
That's what I'm saying. And so that means I also got to give Tibbs that blame. I got to give Tibbs that criticism. If I'm going to give, you know.
Well, while Tibbs deserves a statue in New York for saving a dead franchise, he does have his flaws, and that's one of them. Like, Elfrid Payton shouldn't be. I mean, I wouldn't even play him, to be honest. I don't care what y'all say. He's not a basketball player that first of all, his haircut used to be ridiculous. So I'm not gonna lie, I would never play that dude ever.
Let me give you some Elfrid Payton stats from tonight. 8 minutes played, 0 for 3, 1 assist, 1 foul.
See, so here's the thing. Even if he wasn't getting cooked every play, you know what I mean?
-2 plus minus.
That's not bad. -2?
-2 is not terrible.
-2 means that's good, especially if you lose by 2.
But he only played 8 minutes. Obi, he only played 8 minutes.
Then I have Derrick Rose, 17 points, 8 for 16, plus 3. Quickly, 10 points, 4 for 7, plus 6. Burks, 27 points, plus 8. Come on, bro. Get this dude off my fucking team, bro.
I mean, if he only played 8 minutes, what's the point of even talking about him?
Why? Did you see the 8 minutes? Did you see the 8 minutes?
-2.
They were,
but
-2 though.
But hold on. Regardless of
-2, you can't. There's nothing regardless.
How meaningless those 8 minutes are could be one thing, but they took 8 meaningful minutes away from somebody else. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's
thank you.
You know, he may not have played terrible, but he didn't contribute to winning. So those 8 minutes could have been Burks. You know what I mean? I'm just throwing him out there. Or quickly.
I understand what you're saying, and don't get me wrong. I understand what you're saying, but -2 means he deserves 0 blame. Like, it's not even. It shouldn't be a topic.
Because of the amount that he played. So had he played more extensive minutes, we'd probably have some more.
We'd have got smoked by more.
He could have been +2. We have no idea. Elfrid Payton.
I'll give you that. Who knows?
Knicks fans have been complaining about.
He was not trending towards a plus.
Bro. For the season, he's like -200, bro.
I don't believe that.
All right.
I don't know how to look up that stat, but I don't believe that because you guys are winning right now. I won't even say winning.
And have been winning.
You guys had a huh?
Yeah, I said and have been winning. They didn't just
y'all have been winning. So I doubt that his plus minus is in the negatives. And that would be very tough because he's starting and he's playing with Julius Randle and RJ. So
but the overall point that I think the overall point is that Tibbs, we got some questions about Tibbs' rotation, and that's not something new in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'll say that.
Well, listen, who's all right? So D-Rose starts. Who comes in off the bench?
I know.
So my thing is like we're blaming Tibbs, but it wasn't Tibbs' fault. He wanted Westbrook to keep it the stack. He wanted Westbrook. he wanted another player. He got D-Rose at the deadline, which is thank God. Oh my gosh, where would y'all be without them?
They probably would not be the seed that they are if they didn't have D-Rose.
Bentley's looking up his plus minus, bro. It's hard to find someone's plus minus on the year. Trust me.
Lucky I can't find this shit.
I've tried many times. It's hard to find. You find it and then you'll never find it again.
I hate that.
But
I think so here's the thing though. I still think that the Knicks can win this series. I think that they, like I said in the beginning, they put themselves in a position where they made game 2 a must win, and you didn't really want that, But when I'm looking up and down the roster, I still feel like overall they have just as good a roster. They're just so deficient at the guard position in comparison to Trae Young. And that's the deciding factor to me. And Julius got to play like an all-star.
But Earl, how can you really say that when you see how Derrick Rose and Alec Burks are hooping and quickly?
Because that's by committee. That's guard by committee. You know what I mean? So Trae Young is going out if they needed him to, and I don't know what the minutes were, but if they needed him to, he could have went 40 plus tonight. You know what I mean? Like if they needed him to. We need that. You know what I mean? Like even if it's only for this series.
Yeah.
And if Derek can do it, then Derek got to do it. I just don't think it's realistic to ask him to play, upwards of 36, 37 minutes a night. You don't think his body can hold that up? I mean, and that's just my opinion. You know what I mean? Like I don't have.
I'm not saying you're wrong, but that's what you're basing it on, right?
That's what I'm basing it on. Yeah,
I think that's what Tibbs is showing us, that he doesn't think that he can withstand starters' minutes. And Tibbs runs anybody to the ground.
Because if not, he would have played him all night. He would have just not come out tonight.
Tibbs plays
this
anybody.
This is a game where Tibbs would have played if the best player on his team was his starting guard. He would have played a minimum of 38 minutes.
Let me ask you this. So let's ask this. So while we're on this topic, do you guys anticipate a starting lineup change for game 2?
I don't think it'll happen after game 2, just because you don't want to shake anybody's confidence. And they played so consistently well to this point.
Whose confidence would you be shaking?
Whoever's minutes you're taking.
We know we're talking about whose minutes we're taking.
I think the confidence would be the team, to be honest.
Right. So
you're changing something that you haven't changed all year.
That was what I was getting at, Obi. Yeah. No, go ahead and finish, because that's what I was essentially going to say.
People have been calling for Alfred Payton's job since the offseason.
Bentley, you've been talking trash about Payton since summer league.
To change it after game 1 seems like panic.
But there's evidence. That's probably the least amount of minutes.
I'm not saying it's not evidence.
No,
hold on. Let me finish. That's the amount of minutes he played and his performance today are definitely evidence that Tibbs is losing confidence in him too.
Oh yeah.
So why do you guys not think he would shake it up?
Well,
he may not have. So it could be a couple things. It could be what I was saying originally, that the team confidence, that making drastic changes will make the team start to question each other. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But didn't he already take steps towards that by giving him?
Yes.
No, in the playoffs, things tighten up. Rotations tighten up. Sometimes people will they'll go from a 9-man rotation to a 7-man rotation. So it's not unusual for someone to get their minutes cut drastically. It is unusual for a starter, yes, but in this situation, if you change that starting situation, right, and say, yo, we're gonna put in D Rose as the starting line, it kind of makes it feel like, yo, we're nervous about this game. We feel like we can't win doing us.
And that's why I said, whether or not I think they should make the change, the reason that I think that they probably will hold off at least until game three for that reason, to not look shook. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like,
and to be
not
honest,
look like, oh no, we're panicking. Like,
honest, the Knicks could have won that game easily.
Absolutely.
Like so that.
Let's look at this. Alfred's before the playoffs, Jesus Christ, his last 10 games, 8 minutes, 0 points. Boston, 13 minutes, 0 points. Charlotte, 12 minutes, 2 points. San Antonio, 12 minutes, 0 points. LA, 13 minutes, 2 points. Clippers, 15 minutes, 2 points.
Okay.
Phoenix, 17 minutes, 5 points. Come on, bro.
So wait. What about today?
Today was 8 minutes and 0.
Exactly. It's the same thing. They didn't change anything. There's nothing to change. They won all those games that you mentioned.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say, Bentley. The only, not that what you're saying is wrong, but it does still kind of go to our point, because they're basically still just doing what they were still playing good basketball. He may not have been contributing to it, but
he had his role. He played his defense.
But if you go back to the Memphis game, the next 4 or 5 games, he was 17 minutes a game. Towards the end of the season, he's almost at less than 10 minutes a game for every game. So he's already been transitioning towards removing him.
But you have to also remember that those games became way more important. So the last 2 weeks of basketball were almost playoff games for y'all, because 1, you didn't want to get that 7 seed. 2, you didn't want to get that 6 seed. So it was a combination of both of those, where it was like, yo, we need that 4 seed, and if we are lucky, we'll get Atlanta. So they were trying to win those games very, like, it was a playoff game. That was playoff weeks. Like, so Alfred Payton's minutes started coming down and down and down. So when it came time, so it's the same thing right now. I just don't even understand why he's the top of the discussion. Like, Randall shitted the bed. Like, the boy's been cooking all year, and he shitted the bed the first game. I'm not saying he will next game. I'm just saying.
So for them to win this series, Julius Randle has to be the best player on the court, and that's not a crazy ask. You know what I mean? Like, that's not a crazy ask. He could very well be at least he's the best forward in the game. You know what I mean? Like, he's forward on the court.
No, that's agreed. If not the best player in the game, because Trey may go nuts. Sometimes Trey goes nuts and they don't win. So, but under Nate, Trey hasn't been going nuts like that. He's been playing moderately well, and they've been winning because the rest of the team has been doing well. No one's been, if you look at it, no one's been cooking like that. No one's been going crazy since Nate's been there, but everybody's been playing a little bit better. So in order to win, I agree with you said. Like, Julius either has to be the best player, or Julius and RJ have to be second and third best players on the court.
Yeah. And that's not a crazy ask. Like, I think that's possible. Like,
oh, it's definitely possible.
All right, y'all. Let's transition to the Lakers.
Listen, all you I don't know if he just lost his signal, but no, I'm pretty much talking.
I didn't. I left.
Oh, all right, excellent. Listen, Lakers. I'm not a Chris Paul fan, but you cannot deny what he's been doing as of like the last couple of years. You know what I mean? Even if, I used to look back and he has underperformed in the playoffs, especially when they really needed him. And then he started getting hurt when they extra needed him, when he was cooking in Houston and whatnot. So, but he has revolutionized that team. He has changed the team. Even when he's not on the court anymore, they understand, they have that CP in them. I don't know what it is. I don't know what he did, but I got to commend him. He's a top 10 most skilled player all time. He just had some shortcomings in the playoffs. That's why they call him CP0.
Which I've never called.
I have. I've watched it. I've watched Westbrook.
Well, that's because you related to him, Irv.
A lot of people. I mean, honestly, anyone that played like high school ball, point guard, and they're usually around 5'8" to like 6'2", and they all relate to Chris Paul. So that's why he has so many followings all over the world. Like everyone loves him. So, and they root for him because he really does it the right way. He's nice. He's had his shortcomings, but he really changed that team. And Booker's confident. Like even when, Chris Paul went down, they kind of faltered, but when he came back, he didn't do shit when he came back. He just happened to step on the court and the rest was like, oh, CP's back, let's go. And they started cooking. And but listen, back to the Lakers,
So you got Phoenix in 6.
Don't do that. I watched Westbrook and Harden beat them last year, cooked them, spanked them in the first game and got swept.
Gentlemen, sweet.
It usually takes AD a little bit of time to wake up. There's no way Ayton's better than AD out of nowhere.
So that like to me, right? In a nutshell, that was the game.
Yeah.
That was the game. There is no way, as much as I have, vouched for AD even before he got to LA, I've compared him, called him the best big in the game at some times, depending on what was happening. There is no excuse for you going 5 for 14 and you let DeAndre Ayton get 20 points and 15 rebounds on you. He don't even have a full beard. Like
he's a baby.
Don't do that. I'm growing my shit right now.
Y'all very similar in the beard status.
Listen.
Let's
not joke on beard statuses.
That was the game. So he looked more. Ayton looked more decisive. Ayton looked more aggressive at the rim.
Ayton is so weak too. He's a bust. I mean, he's not that. He's
strong.
Solid.
I don't know that I would say bust. That's strong.
He's a bust.
We got to think about
hold on.
Where he was selected.
Not gonna lie. He's a bust. Let me look at the camera and say he's a bust.
All right. Okay.
He was the number 1 draft pick in the entire world when Luka Doncic was there. So that's a bust.
Okay, I'm not. You can't. I don't mind you calling him a bust, but it's not fair to call him a bust in comparison to Luka. He came out hurt. Ayton came out hurt.
I don't know where he came. All I know is you draft the Suns blew it. First of all, it was set up perfectly to draft Luka. Like it would have been perfect. Imagine they drafted Luka and then had Booker right next to him. They would have been untouchable.
So I like this, and this is a separate conversation that I think we should have around draft decisions, because I'm sure they said, why would we, a la Jordan and Clyde Drexler, why are we going to take this guy? We got somebody that basically plays the same position.
Yeah, that'd be.
And I'm not saying they were right to do that. Clearly, it's like you get the best guys, you put them out there. But if you were looking at Devin Booker and you said he's your wing, he's the guy, he's going to be it, why would you then go get Luka? You couldn't do that in football. If you did that in football,
could have got Trae Young though.
Dudes would be trying to force their way out of town.
Booker's a 2. He's like a natural 2.
I was going to say, Luka and Trae Young are both point guards.
Yeah,
but we did not know that Luka was going to be playing point guard when he came out.
I knew.
When I say we, I mean the people that drafted him.
We
know that because when they started him, they did not start him at point.
A lot of my non-aficionado friends knew Luka was the goods. Even my friends that didn't know he was the goods, we showed him videos, and he was like, "Oh, I'll take Luka over Trae Young."
I'm not disagreeing with any of that. I'm not disagreeing with any of that.
So
when I say they, I'm talking about the Dallas Mavericks.
The Suns.
Yeah, sorry, excuse me.
And I'm saying that's the Suns' job to know that Booker is a bucket.
But Dallas didn't start him at the point either.
Yes, they did. I mean, they turned
it over to him. You remember they turned the keys over to him very early in the season, but he did not. From the gate, he was not the point guard, the general. Initiating the offense. That was something that they decided to do. That was something that Rick Carlisle decided to do. No.
from what I remember, is they had the two-headed snake in terms of two quarterbacks, DSJ and Duke Luca. And what they did was they were like, yo, Luca's way better at point. But Luca was drafted as a point guard. Everyone knew he played professional, like as a point guard. So there's nothing, he played professional for years. So it's not like he's gonna come in and play the 4.